Here at the Hillbilly Review channel. Today, in honor of October baseball, which sucks, frankly, because the Cardinals aren't in it and won't be in it for a long time from now, we're going to do the top 10 at every major league position. And I'm going to join by Ghostface. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see the screen?
Mm-hmm.
His mom thinks Chester the molester is going to get him, so he has to wear a mask. All right. Let's just, same thing as usual. If you're going to subscribe, stay subscribed. If you're not going to stay subscribed, don't waste my time. But if you're going to stay subscribed, glad to have you. All right, let's just get right to it. We're going to start with catchers.
Yachty's probably on there.
Is he? By the way, I have a little video of this little terror. He's going to promote my channel, and I'm going to send a short out. It's kind of cute. Anyway, this is the one position where I have a big hot take on. Okay, number 10, we're going to start off with Ernie Lombardi and we're doing catchers. He was an old fat guy who played in the 1940s, and he was a great hitter, but he was fat and immobile behind the plate. He was known for being possibly the slowest guy who ever played Major League Baseball. In fact, there's a story that he hit a line drive off the wall and got thrown out at first. And anyway, he was a great hitter, though. He won 2 batting titles, and that's hard. Catchers don't lead the league in hardly anything, generally speaking.
Mike Piazza's probably on there, but defensively he was awful, but
hey, we're getting to it. All right. Speaking of which, number 9 is Mike Piazza.
Oh.
Now, you may be saying, how can the best hitter at the position be at number 9? Well, the answer is because he was a terrible fielder. He couldn't catch me stealing. But he could hit, so he's up here. He's number 9. Number 8 is an old Cub named Gabby Hartnett, and he was one of those guys. He was a great... Ghostface got tired. He took off his mask. He'll get it back on. Anyway, Gabby Hartnett, he was a great fielder, one of the greatest catchers at throwing out base stealers, and he was a pretty good hitter. He's here more for his combination of the two rather than for either one specifically. Number 7, the oldest guy on the list, Buck Ewing. Buck Ewing, he played for the Giants back in the 1890s. You okay, Ghostface?
Yep.
And he was probably the fastest catcher who ever lived, because he hit a bunch of triples. And he stole over 400 bases. These days, catchers can't steal anything because, the wear and tear. You have to bend over all the time. But he was considered one of the greatest players of his position and of his era. So he's number 7. And number 6 is a guy I know very well. It's Yadier Molina, right, Ghostface?
Yep.
Yachty, now he may be the greatest fielder who ever played catcher. A lot of people give him grief about his hitting because he didn't hit home runs, but guess what? He was a good hitter. But he's in here for his elite defense. There's never been a catcher that worked better with pitchers than he did. He took a lot of young pitchers and basically was their pitching coach. He basically ran the Cardinals pitching staff. And there's a reason why the Cardinals pitchers suck now that he's gone. And he was great at throwing out base stealers. Just a really great defensive catcher. At number 5, a guy who's known more for his funny sayings than for his talent, which was considerable, is Yogi Berra. Now, Yogi, he had a whole bunch of funny sayings, like, if you come up to a fork in the road, pick it up. It ain't over till it's over. I didn't say half of the things they say I said. 90% of the game is 50% mental, stuff like that. Just funny sayings. But he was also a surprisingly great catcher defensively and a great hitter. All right, here is my hot take. Johnny Bench at number 4. And yes, I know a lot of you are going to say, A lot of you are going to say, well, everyone knows Johnny Bench is the best catcher ever. What do you say, Ghostface?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Well, I disagree. Here's the thing. He was an elite defensive catcher, and he threw out base runners great. I'm not saying that he's not. What I'm saying is he wasn't near as good a hitter as people say he was. He never hit 300 in a season. He only hit 267 for his career. And honestly, in the time he played, Ted Simmons of the Cardinals was actually a better hitting catcher. Hey, Stain VR, or how do you pronounce that? How you doing?
Wait, is he watching in VR? That's virtual reality.
Well, maybe he is. I don't know. I don't know all these newfangled terms. I'm old. Anyway, nice to have you, whoever you are. But Johnny Bench, don't get me wrong, he's number 4 here for a reason. But I'm probably the only person that won't put him at number 1. And he was a great catcher, and I like him a lot. But I'm just saying, the 3 ahead of him better combinations of fielding and hitting than he was. And number 3, Pudge Rodriguez, Yvonne. And I know he's a steroid guy. But this is based on nothing but numbers. And Yvonne Rodriguez, he basically fights Yachty for the title of best fielding catcher, and he hit 300 for 10 seasons. You can't beat that. And number 2 is Bill Dickey. And Bill Dickey, he was an old Yankee. Most people would put Yogi Berra as the best Yankee catcher, but I think Bill deserves that title. And my number 1 catcher is Mickey Cochran. And the reason why is because he was not just a great fielding catcher, but he is the only catcher here that had a 400 on base percentage for his career. That's pretty impressive. And he hit like 330 for his career. He was just an elite hitter. All right, now we're going to a considerably better. Probably first base is probably the best combination of hitting talents you ever had. So here we go. We're going at number 10. Yeah, these are basically the best hitters who ever lived. Number 10, we got Bill Terry. And Bill Terry, he was an old-time giant. The thing that makes him great is, well, for one thing, he's the last National Leaguer to hit 400. But he was also an elite defensive. Besides being a great hitter, he hit like 340 for his career. He was also an elite defensive first baseman. Probably either him or Pujols was probably the second best fielding first baseman who ever lived. And I know first base isn't really a defensive position, but defense still matters. Speaking of defense, number 9, we got Frank Thomas. What do you think, Ghostface? Frank Thomas at number 9?
I mean, I don't care.
Gosh, you're awful quiet, Ghostface. Start chirping.
I mean, he was good. What else can I say?
Anyway, Frank Thomas, they call him the Big Hurt for his big bat. He was basically a black version of Ted Williams. Oh, actually, that was Barry Bonds. Anyway, he was a great high on base, high average, hit for some power, just a great complete hitter, but he was a lousy defensive player. Probably the worst fielder on this list. So that hurts him in the rankings. That's why he's number 9 instead of higher. Number 8 was an old-time Cardinal, Johnny Mize. And I'm a Cardinal fan, in case you don't know. And that's not why he's on here. He's on here because he was just a great player, great hitter. And Miguel Cabrera, probably the most underrated player of his time.
Isn't he the last? My bad. Wasn't he the last player to go for the Triple Crown?
Yes, Miguel Cabrera was the last Triple Crown winner. To me, he was gruesomely underrated because early in his career, he was overshadowed by Pujols, who we'll see later on this list. And later in his career, he was overshadowed by Mike Trout, which I think he was always a better player than Mike Trout, personally. But he was a lousy fielder. I do agree with that. But, man, the guy could hit. You can make a case that he was a better hitter than Pujols. I don't make that case, but you can make a case, if that makes sense. Definitely gruesomely underrated player. Number 6 is Hank Greenberg, and he was an old time Tiger. And the cool thing about him was he had 100 RBIs at the All Star break. That means basically at the halfway point, he had 100 RBIs. He was just a prolific RBI machine.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And his career numbers aren't near as good as they should be because he lost a lot of seasons to fighting in World War II. And it meant a lot because he was a Jew and he fought against the Nazis. So if they ever caught him, he was in big trouble. So that took a lot out of him, but definitely an elite player. Probably had the worst longevity on this list, but still. I don't know what that emoji means, Stain, but you'll have to let me know.
Let me see it. Wow.
Let me know, Ghostface. What does that emoji mean?
No idea.
Okay, anyway, moving on. Dan Bruthers, that was a guy from the 1800s. And yes, a lot of people don't even consider... Oh, surprise. Man, I was born in 88, so you gotta be... I don't know a lot of these new terms.
I should know it because
I gotta go to Ghostface for the pop culture stuff.
I'm a Gen Z person.
Yeah, well, I'm a millennial. Not happy about it, but yeah. Anyway, Dan Bruthers, he was an elite hitter from the 1800s. And yes, a lot of people won't even put 18 guys from the 1800s in their list, but so what? I do. Baseball is baseball. Every era counts. On a scale of 1 to 10, how often do the turtle be farting? I don't know. This isn't about turtles.
7? I don't know.
Speaking of which, if you guys like horror stuff, I do a lot of horror stuff, so check that out. On Halloween, I'm going to have a Halloween franchise ranking.
Which I'm not going to be at.
Why is my left butt cheek green? I also don't know. In the words of Snoop, in the words of Snoop Doggy Dogg, our great philosopher, why you ask me questions I don't know the answers to?
What is bro on?
I don't know. You always, on live streams, you always get stuff that has nothing to do with the topic.
It's just because they just want attention.
It's funny, though. Anyway, moving on. Albert Pujols. I've had mixed feelings about this guy over the years. He used to be my favorite player, and then he left us for more money, so I kind of hated him for a while. But he came back with a really great performance. He gave us one last great year before he retired. The thing about him was he was the best hitter of his time, but not just that. He also was an elite defensive player. He still holds the all-time record for the most assists at first base. And for a slow guy, he was a great base runner. Just a really great player. A lot of people would think I'm undergrading him at putting him number 4, but he sucked for about a third of his career, so I got to downgrade him for that.
Also, why do they disrespect him so much? Like, they only have Big Mac land for Mark McGwire. But for Mark McGwire, I'm saying.
Yeah.
They disrespect Mark McGwire so much. I don't know why.
I don't know that. To me, McGwire didn't do anything worse than a lot of other people did. He's not on the list, by the way, but he was a great player.
I mean...
steroids. I don't agree with putting steroid guys in the Hall of Fame, but he still should get some more respect.
I mean...
At number 3, he had a shorter career than Pujols, but he had his career numbers are hurt mostly because he was in the shadow of number 1 on this list. But Jimmy Fox, he was an elite player. He's definitely number 3 here. Number 2, a lot of people talk about the old-time racist baseball players, and there was a time where there actually was a lot of them, and Cap Anson was one of the worst. He's my number 2 guy, and actually the reason why blacks didn't play for like 100 years was because Cap Anson, he played against a team that had a black player, and he said, I don't allow no beeps, no N-words. He says, I don't play against no N-words. So then, and because he was the superstar of the time, people kicked people kicked the poor black dude out, and then blacks were kicked out of baseball and had to have their own league. So not a very good influence, not a very good person, but Cap Anson, he was really the first truly great. Yes, Stain, really. he was really he was an elite player though. So I don't care about their personalities here. I'm putting here nothing but statistics, and he deserves it here. Actually, the first player to ever get 3,000 hits also. But number one, it's Lou Gehrig, and that's not even a close call. Lou Gehrig.
Poor Gehrig.
There's never been a better RBI man than Lou Gehrig. I mean, he was a better RBI man. That's why he hit cleanup instead of Ruth. Ruth was a better overall hitter, but Gehrig drove in more runs. And Gehrig was a perfect hitter because he walked a lot, and he also got a lot of hits. And he has the most 400 total base seasons. He has more of those than any player in history. And there's no telling what kind of numbers he would have had if he didn't have a not life-threatening, it killed him. Obviously, he got the disease that was named after him. And it basically paralyzes you and squeezes the life out of you until you die. It's a terrible way to die. But he would have easily had 400 home runs, probably 3,000 hits. I mean, but even without that, his numbers were still incredible. Lou Gehrig, and also a good guy. You should see The Pride of the Yankees if you want to see a movie about Lou Gehrig. All right, second base. We got Craig Biggio here at number 10, and I had a hard choice deciding between him and Bill Mazeroski. Because Bill Mazeroski, he was the second base is a defensive position. By the way, Ghostface is a second baseman, right?
Yep, I'm a second baseman.
And I also pretended to play second when I played. And Bill Mazeroski was the best fielding second baseman who ever lived. But he also couldn't hit at all. He couldn't hit my pitching. So that ultimately I had to put him lower than Biggio. Biggio is a little overrated, but he still definitely is number 10 on this list. And I also like him a lot. He was a nice guy.
Ghostface is gonna head out for a second.
Okay.
I just need to throw something away.
Number 9 is Bid McPhee. And Bid McPhee, he was a player from the 1800s and from the old-time Reds. And he was the best fielding second baseman besides Bill Mazeroski. And the cool thing about him was he was the last player to pick up a glove. This is hard to believe, but in the early days, guys didn't even wear gloves. So just imagine those hard line drivers shot right at you. You had to catch them with your bare hand. And Bid McPhee did that for basically his whole career.
Imagine a 111 shot right to your hand.
Yeah, granted they didn't hit it as hard back then, but still. And he always said that people that put on gloves were babies and that it really didn't hurt that bad once you got used to it. But one time he broke his fingers catching a ball, so he finally did eventually pick up the glove.
But then you remember, back in the day, when, Honus Wagner's bat, 45 freaking ounces.
Yeah. But old Bid McPhee, he was tough. Number 8, we got, I know he's a steroid guy, Robinson Cano. Robinson Cano, he was a great Yankee second baseman. He played recently. He got suspended for steroids. Everyone knows him. Number 7, we got Joe Morgan. And Joe Morgan, he's overrated by the sabermetric people. But he was a great player. What?
Nothing.
What do you... I'm going to show you so Chester Molester will pick you up. All right. Anyway, Joe Morgan, he was an elite. He played great. He stole lots of bases and he drew a lot of walks and what?
Nothing.
And for a little guy, he actually had a lot of power. But I don't think he's near as good as the pundits say he is, but he is a great player. So he's my number 7. Number 6 is an old-time Cardinal / Giant, Frankie Frisch. He was the player manager of the so-called Gas House Gang Cardinals of the 30s, and that was interesting because you had guys like Dizzy Dean and Joe Medwick and Pepper Martin that were really weird and eccentric. Then you had the straight-laced business like Frankie Frisch as the player manager, kind of having to reel them all in. Number 5, Rod Carew, just an elite hitter. One time he hit 388. Number 4, Charlie Gehringer, one of the most underrated second basemen ever. One of the greatest run-producing second basemen ever. Number 3, Eddie Collins, 68, 67. Okay, what does that mean, Coconut? What does it mean, Ghostface?
67.
Oh, well, he's doing it over and over again. I don't know.
Yes, that's a big thing though.
What is it? What
It's
is it?
It's a song that's called Doo Doo, and people made fun of it because it said 6-7. And they
Okay.
just made fun of it.
Well, some guy named Coconut Prod is doing it over and over. So.
Yeah. 6-7.
Okay. I guess I'm too old to know what that means. Anyway. Number 2 is Nap Lajoie. And number 1 is the greatest right-handed hitter of all time that no one knows about, Rogers Hornsby. Now, granted, this guy was a jerk. I mean, he was a guy that his fellow teammates complained to management because he kept peeing in the shower stalls. Ghostface likes that. And he would say that he felt sorry for the other team having to chase his balls all the time. Not his real balls, the baseball. But Rogers Hornsby was an awful human being, but he was a great hitter. He hit 424 in a season. Can you imagine hitting 424? And he hit over 400. He hit over 400, staying VR like one of those jokes. But Hornsby, he hit over 400 for a 5-year stretch. He hit 403 times. No one can hit 400 for 1 year, let alone for a 5-year stretch. He won 2 Triple Crowns. He was the first second baseman to hit for power. I know he is certainly not a saint, but the man could hit. He used to be considered the best right-handed hitter ever, and I say he still is. All right, number 3, Ghostface is going to like this list. Ghostface is getting tired. He ain't got the stamina to wear the mask the whole time.
It's like suffocating. Like, it gets so hot in here.
Billy and Stu did it for an entire, well, not for an entire film, but anyway, whatever. By the way, check out my Scream video. It's doing fairly good. And also check out my Pennywise, my It video, because apparently no one else did. You would think that would be a big hit, but it was a big flop. Very disappointing. Anyway.
Feels like it's 93 degrees in here.
All right. Number 9, we got John McGraw. And a lot of people... I'll do it. Yes, thank you, Stain. And also, subscribe, my man. I'm glad that you are hanging in there with us. Every live stream, there's at least one person who stays faithful, and most of the people fade away pretty quick.
The last time I was in it, it was a person named Ron.
It was my homie Ron. Thank you, Stain. I appreciate it. Anyway, John McGraw, obviously he's known more as a manager, but he was actually also a great player in his time. Not quite Hall of Fame level. There's really not that many great third basemen, generally speaking. Definitely the weakest talented position of baseball. Not saying that the guys that are on here aren't talented, but there's just not that many great players. But yeah, he's my number 10. At number 9, we got a guy who's still playing with us today, Nolan Arenado. Honestly, I thought this guy would be a top 5er. Put on your mask, Ghostface. You'll probably... we actually saw him play at the Springfield Cardinals when he was rehabbing. I'm a Cardinal fan. I was kind of... When he came to the Cardinals, I thought they were World Series bound. And unfortunately, because we have a general manager that refuses to spend money and doesn't even care about winning anymore, we didn't win with him. And now he's going to go with another team. But the best fielding third baseman of his time and a great hitter with Colorado, not so much with St. Louis. What do you think about Ghostface? I mean, what Ghostface? What do you think about Nolan?
He's an old fat fart now.
Oh, he's not
I,
fat.
I wouldn't say fat. Yeah, my bad. I wouldn't say fat, but he is a fart. But
Yeah, he's definitely his best years are definitely behind him. But he was in his time he was.
By the way, he was so crazy that he led the Rockies to a wild card. Yes, the Rockies to a wild card.
The only way the Rockies stay high is with weed. They certainly can't do it on the baseball field. But anyway, yeah. Nolan, he was the best third baseman of his time. I definitely thought he would be much higher on this list, but he declined much quicker than I expected. He's probably the weakest player here that's a Hall of Famer level. Number 8, we got Pie Trainer. He used to be considered the greatest third baseman who ever lived. And nowadays, that people don't even recognize him as a great player, which I think is pretty screwed up. But anyway, Ghostface is about to pass out here. 9, 10, 9, 8. Okay, at number 7, we got Eddie Matthews. He's a bit overrated, but a lot of people don't know that when he first came up with Hank Aaron, he was actually considered the power hitter and not Hank. Hank was actually considered just the more overall hitter, and Eddie was considered the great power hitter. So that's interesting. Obviously, Hank overtook him later. Hold on. I redid this list, so I'm kind of having to redo it in my head. Number
6.
Hold on. Sorry, I screwed up, guys. I screwed up. I'm sorry. Right above Pie Trainer is Adrian Beltre. And he was an interesting player because most players, this is how most major league careers go. They start out young and great. They have growing pains at first, but then they become great about when they're 27. And then as they get older, they get old and suck. But Adrian Beltre was the exact opposite. He actually came out, he was always a great fielder, but he came up when he was 19 and everyone expected him to be a superstar, and he just never did it when he was young. He had one great fluke year in 2004. If it wasn't for Bonds and his steroids, he would have won the MVP that year. But that was just a fluke year, and he was basically just a good player for half his career. And then at the age when most people start declining and getting old, he actually just kept getting better. A lot of that was because he went to small parks like Texas and Boston. But still, he aged backwards. He started off old and then ended up young. It was just strange. Definitely an interesting career. But anyway, Eddie Matthews is my number 6. My number 5 is Chipper Jones. And I had a hard time deciding who was number 5 on this list. It was either going to be Chipper or Eddie. And they're both Braves third basemen, obviously, but they're both very different. Like, Chipper is a hitting savant, whereas Eddie Matthews was a great power hitter that walked a decent amount, played a lot better defense than Chipper. But overall, I decided that the great hitting overdid the better overall game of Matthews. So, and number 4, we got Brooks Robinson. Definitely the worst hitter on this list, but definitely the greatest fielding third baseman who ever lived. Okay, now we're at the top 3 here. Man. At number 3, Ghostface is either going to like this or not like it. This was a hard decision because he's actually my favorite third baseman ever. But Ghostface, you probably don't know this, but Ghostface is a Royals fan. Number 3 is George Brett. And
I would have put him at maybe a number 2.
Yeah,
because I would have put Mike Schmidt at first.
Well, we're getting there, Ghostface. We're getting there.
And then George is number 2.
George Brett, he just barely, if it wasn't for the hemorrhoids he got, he probably would have hit 400 that one year. And of course, he's known for almost beating the crap out of an umpire when he took a home run away from him. Eventually, they gave him the home run back. Actually, he's my favorite player on this list. But objectively, I think Wade Boggs at number 2 is just slightly better. Just because he played a little bit better defense and he had a better on base percentage. And number 1, like Ghostface said, is Mike Schmidt. And I used to think he was gruesomely overrated. And when I actually dug deep into this list, I figured I would be cool and give a hot take and put Schmidt at number 3 just to piss everyone off. But I looked at the numbers, and even though he's not my kind of player, like he struck out way too much, his average wasn't so great. His average was basically just C level. I couldn't ignore the fact that he just hit tons of home runs and he played such great defense.
Oh yeah, speaking of Mike Schmidt,
Ghostface, put on your
it's
mask.
fine. I'm an idiot and got a Phillies logo in the back of my head. I'm a freaking idiot.
Got a what?
A Phillies logo in the back of my head.
Well, anyone who cheers for the Phillies is pretty dumb, but anyway.
I want Harper to win.
Well, I like Trey Turner and Harper, but I don't like the Phillies, so anyway, I hate to go along with the consensus, but I think Ghostface farted. But Mike Schmidt is number 1, and I hate to admit it, but it's true. All right, we're going to shortstop. I hate to tell you, Ghostface, but you won't see another Roy Lever again.
Okay.
Sit down, Ghostface. You're getting in my way. All right, number 10 is Derek Jeter. A lot of people would say I'm underrated him, and Jeter was a great player, but the guy could not field at all. Some people even say he was the worst fielder who ever lived. I don't agree with that statement, but the truth is he had no range. But he was a great hitter and definitely a fantastic postseason performer, and he was also just a nice guy. So the funny thing about me and the Yankees is I hate the Yankees as a team, but there's a lot of Yankees I like, and he's one of them. Really a class act, a great hitter, great postseason performer. Just his lousy defense and shortstop is a defensive position. I could forgive it if he was a first baseman, but at shortstop, I simply cannot put a fielder of his low caliber any more than 10. He's the only player on this list that is a lousy fielder.
Question. Are we doing pitchers?
Yes.
Okay.
We may have to speed things up a little bit. But Luke Appling is my number 9. And the cool thing about him was he was a guy who could foul off any pitch at will. And he just made pitchers mad all the time because if he saw a pitch that was in the strike zone but he didn't like it, he would just foul it off at will until he got the pitch he wanted. And he was a great hitter, decent fielder. Cal Ripken Jr., a lot of people would put him in top 5, maybe even top 3. I do think Cal Ripken Jr. is overrated, and I don't care about the playing streak. That doesn't mean anything to me. What does mean something to me is the fact that he was an elite fielder and a pretty good hit. He was a great, if inconsistent, hitter. He was the kind of guy, he would have an MVP season, and then the next year he would hit 250. So his hitting is not near as good as everyone says, but he was one of the first power hitting shortstops. But the cool thing about him was he was an elite defensive shortstop, even though he was slower than me. And the reason what he was such a great fielder was because he had such a great baseball IQ that he knew where the ball was going to be hit at all times. So he could get by with being super slow and having no range. And he got 3,000 hits, and yeah. I don't think he's as great as everyone says he is, but he is great. There's no shame in being number 8 all time. Yes, Ghostface?
Whenever you say 3,000, it makes me think of X-Men 3000.
Whatever you say, Ghostface. I've never seen it.
What? That movie about this guy trying to get 3,000 hits.
Oh, Mr. 3000. Now that is a
I didn't remember what it was called.
That is a gruesomely underrated movie. Check that out. Number 7, Joe Sowell, and he was an interesting player. He was a great hitter and a great fielder, but the thing that's cool about him was that he didn't strike out, and I mean at all. He averaged about 5 strikeouts a year. Yes, and The average major leaguer today averages at least over 100 strikeouts. There's guys that strike out 200 times a year. Who's here?
I'll see.
Go find out, Ghostface.
Oh, hey, Dad.
Can't do that, okay?
Alright.
You can't be outside playing and then come in here. Alright, without telling us. We didn't know where you were, and I looked all over the yard.
Alright.
Alright?
Just my dad.
Ghostface got in trouble. Anyway, where was I? Joe, anyway, he never struck out. And you got players today that strike out 200 times a year. So that's impressive. Number 6, Joe Cronin, a good RBI shortstop. Number 5, the greatest shortstop who ever lived defensively. Actually, the greatest fielder who ever lived, Ozzie Smith. Ozzie Smith, he was probably the worst hitter on this list. He was an okay hitter. He stole a lot of bases, but he wasn't an especially great hitter. Early in his career, he was god-awful, but Whitey Herzog really taught him how to hit, and he became a decent hitter. But, man, the guy could field. He still has the greatest defensive play I've ever seen in my life. The ball was hit, and it hit a pebble to his right, and then it hit a ball, and it shot to the left, and he moved his arm and caught the ball with his bare hand, all in one motion, and threw the guy out at first. Still the greatest play I ever seen in my life. Just his defense alone, he's top 5 material. Number 4, Jack Glasscock. That old boy probably had a bad childhood. But he was probably either him or Mark Bellinger is probably the second greatest defensive shortstop ever. And the cool thing about him is he was also a really good hitter. He wasn't at Ozzie's caliber of hitter, but he was a much better hitter. So that's why he's one step ahead of Ozzie. At number 3, a guy no one talks about much, Arky Vaughan. A great the only guy here with an on-base percentage over 400 for his career. Number 2, the second best hitter I ever saw in my life, Alex Rodriguez. I know he's a steroid guy, but he was the only guy that could compete with Barry in his time. And obviously, number 1 is Honus Wagner. I mean, he was the best dead ball player besides Cobb. That one's an easy one. All right, let's move to left field. You ready to move to left field, Ghostface?
Have any commenters right now?
Not for a while. We have. I wonder if we lost my. Gosh, I need. All right, number 10, we got at left field, and this is probably the position that hits the best besides first base. Number 10, an old-timer named Goose Goslin. A lot of people don't know much about him, but he was a great player. Number 9, really the first great Cardinal, Jesse Burkett. Number 8, I'm trying to speed things up here. At number 8, Manny Ramirez, and yes, I hate Manny Ramirez. Hated him with a passion. One of my least favorite players of all time. But he was a great hitter. He couldn't do anything else. I mean, he was a dropout at everything else, but he was a PhD in hitting. I mean, this guy could just flat out hit. He was a terrible base runner, terrible fielder, but he could hit. And I have to have him up here for left field is a hitting position, and he was just such a great hitter. So he's my number 8 guy. Number 7, a gruesomely underrated player, Joe Medwick, the last Triple Crown winner. Actually, I think he's the last Triple Crown winner ever. And they called him Ducky Medwick because he looked like a duck when he hit. But the man could flat out hit back in the day. He's number 7. Number 6, Carl Yastrzemski. He's a Boston Red Sox. And anyone who knows who's ever watched Barry Bonds, we'll get there, Jamie. Carl Yastrzemski, I hate the Red Sox with a passion, but Carl Yastrzemski was a great player. And obviously, he hit .301 and led the league with a .301 average. And that was because the pitchers were just so freaking amazing back then. These days, they hit low averages because they suck. Back then, they did it because the pitchers were so good. But Carl Yastrzemski, either him or Bonds was the best fielding left fielder. And he was also an elite hitter. So,
The Royals have his son.
Mike Yastrzemski, he ain't near as good as Grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, he kind of sucks, actually, but...
He was a big hit for the. Sorry, guys.
Ghostface, you gotta be prepared.
He was a big hit for the Royals, though.
Yeah, if you say so. I don't watch the Royals.
Trust me, I.
Your thoughts on the Charlie Kirk assassination?
Go check out the short.
Yeah, check out my 2 Charlie Kirk shorts. Here's the thing. I don't want to get into politics because I don't want to get canceled. But I'm a conservative, and I think Charlie Kirk was a great man. And I think it's really... I hope that I'm not happy that the guy's going to probably get that Tyler Robinson or Mr. Furry or whatever his name is. I'm not happy that he's getting he's probably going to get killed by firing squad. Not because I don't want him to get killed, but because I think he deserves to suffer. To me, he deserves a Bundy type death penalty, like the electric chair. That would be much more suitable. Anyway, I better not say any more. I might have already said too much already. One time, this is not a joke. I made a short. I did a video about Hitler, which was anti-Hitler. But all I did was say that Hitler had a guy that helped him kill a bunch of communists. And I got flagged on YouTube for that. And they took my short off because apparently I said something hateful. And all I did was say something that was historically accurate. So I probably shouldn't say much. But yes, I'm a Charlie Kirk fan, and it's a shame that he's gone. That's all I'll say. Ducky King.
Nice name. I like that name.
Yeah.
Ducky King. I like that.
Al Simmons, he's the only player in Major League history to start his career with 1,200 RBI seasons. Babe Ruth didn't do it. Ted Williams didn't do it. Bonds didn't do it. Al Simmons. To me, one of the most gruesomely underrated players who ever lived. Number 4, Ricky Henderson, the best leadoff hitter of all time, the best base stealer of all time. Ricky was a pimp. I mean, the guy he was just so talented. And I love the story. The day he broke the stolen base record on a pregame show, of course, Ricky was so humble he hated to talk about himself. Obviously, that was a joke. But Ricky said, "There ain't no way Ricky won't do it today." And since Ricky always did what he said he was going to do, he did it. Definitely one of the greatest players of all time. Really cool dude. Number 4.
R.I.P.
Yeah. Ed Lanty at number 3. He was an old-time Philly. He was the best Philly who ever lived. You can keep your Mike Schmidt. Ed Lanty was the best. Hit 400 3 times. Was the best hitter of the 1800s. And the sad thing about him was how he died. Because he was a big drunk. A lot of guys drunk a lot back then. And he got drunk on a train and they kicked him off of the train. So he wandered off drunk and he fell into Niagara Falls and drowned. That's how he died. That's how his career ended. So there's no telling what he could have done if he would have kept his head on straight.
Actually, Babe Ruth used to drink and smoke whenever he was only a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to get to him much later. Speaking of Barry Bonds, Jamie mentioned Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds is the best player I ever saw play. And I can't stand him. I mean, no one liked Barry Bonds. The only person who liked Barry Bonds was himself and his mama might have been jiving too. I mean, but Bonds was great, elite. No one was more afraid. There was no player that scared people more than Bonds. I mean, people walked him all the time. He got walked with the bases loaded once. And I know he was a steroid product. But in his early days, he did everything. He might have been the best fielding left fielder. He stole bases, hit for a great average. He had tons of power. And he walked. He just walked all the time.
Okay.
And
Oh, that's awful. There's absolutely no way that Bond stole bases. How did he steal bases?
Before he took steroids, he
Oh.
was fast.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now
He didn't become a big fat guy until later in his career when he was trying to keep up with McGuire and Sosa.
And then his head doubled.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, number one, the only guy who walked more than Barry Bonds was Ted Williams. Ted Williams, a lot of people still think he's the best hitter. Most people agree that Babe Ruth is, but he's the guy who's usually considered second. And Ted, he was so stingy, he would not swing at anything, even a slight inch off the strike zone. He swung at nothing but strikes, so he walked a ton.
Fun fact, we're actually, I'm pretty sure, distant cousins with Ted Williams.
Yeah, that's what they've said. I can't prove that, but that's what people say. That's what our uncle says. But Ted Williams, an elite hitter, he wasn't a very good fielder or base runner. In fact, he kind of sucked at those things. But he was an elite hitter. Just pure hitting, you couldn't get much better. And he has the highest on base percentage in baseball history. He almost got on base half the time he showed up to the plate. That's incredible. All right, moving on to center fielders. We're moving on, Ghostface. I had to redo this list. And by the way, I'm going to get hate mail for this one. But no, Mike Trout is not on this list. See how surprised Ghostface is?
I'm not surprised.
The thing about Mike Trout, I know he was the best player in baseball in his early career.
By the way, congratulations on 400.
Yeah.
He just hit 400 homers,
But
congratulations on that, but you get injured way too often.
Yes, that's why he's not on this list. Mike Trout, he got hurt and then he just fell off a cliff. Now when he plays, he's just old and he just can't do anything anymore. I mean, he just didn't have the longevity to be on this list. He was originally on this list. In fact, he was high. I actually had him at number 6 at one point. But now he's not even on the list because he's just hurt all the time. And it's a shame because he's a nice guy. But number 10 actually is a guy named Pete Browning that no one knows about. He played in the 1800s.
I thought you were going to say Pete Rose.
No. Pete Rose isn't on any of this list because he didn't play on any one position long enough to be considered. He played too many positions. But Pete Browning, he was the best hitter of the so-called American Association, which was the rival league to the National League before the American League. At number 9, Hugh Duffy. He was a guy, he had one really fantastic year. He hit 446. Granted, see how surprised Ghostface is?
Oh, no,
Granted, it was a lot easier to hit back then. I agree that baseball wasn't near as good as it became later. But still, 446 is 446. And it's still the all-time record, and it will never be challenged. So, that's incredible. Number 8 is an old-time Philly named Richie Ashburn. Richie, he was a great leadoff type hitter, but he was an elite fielder. In fact, he was a better fielder than Willie Mays in his time. He still holds some of the most records for the most caught balls in the air. Like he holds 3 of the top 5 most in the season, stuff like that. Okay, that was number 8, yeah. Number 7, another guy who's very similar to Mike Trout, Ken Griffey Jr. Everyone thought he would break Roop's record, but he ended up getting hurt, and he felt his career kind of... Unlike Mike Trout, he didn't just start sucking when he got hurt, but he went from being one of the best players in baseball to just being a good player, and he was hurt all the time. So he gets downgraded because of that, but in his time, there was nothing he couldn't do. At number 6, this is a guy that is gruesomely overrated, in my opinion. I'm going to get hate mail for this. Mickey Mantle. The thing about Mickey Mantle is, yes, he walked a lot, and yes, he hit a lot of home runs, but he didn't drive in runs, guys. I don't care if you hit home runs. Joey Gallo hits a lot of home runs. All I care about is if you drive runs in. Hey, I'll be back in a bit. Thank you. Take your time, homie. But here's the thing: Mickey Mantle didn't drive in runs. He walked a lot and he hit a lot of home runs, but he didn't drive runs in. He had almost 600 home runs and he only had 400 RBI seasons. You get guys that don't hit hardly any that have more 100 RBI seasons than that. That's pathetic. So he is a great player. Obviously, he's number 6, but a lot of people would put him number 3 or maybe even number 2, and I think that's stupid. Number 5, Billy Hamilton. I'm not talking about the super fast guy who all he could do was run. I'm talking about the guy from the 1800s who was the best leadoff hitter of his age. He stole tons of bases, walked a lot, still holds the all-time record for the most runs scored in a season. And that record will never be challenged. 190 some runs. That's incredible. I think Ghostface is getting tired on me, are you?
No.
Number 4, DiMaggio. I also think he's overrated, but he is a lot better player than Mickey Mantle. Number 3, Tris Speaker. Not just an elite hitter who has the most doubles of any player in history and hit over 340 for his career. Would have won a lot of batting titles if it wasn't for Cobb. But here's the thing. He was the best fielding center fielder ever. And he also had the strongest arm of any. He has the most assists. Just the combination. You can make a case that he's better than Willie Mays. I'm not making that case, by the way. I'm just saying that you could make a case. And speaking of Willie Mays, he's number 2. If there was a perfect player, Willie Mays is that player. Because Willie, there was nothing in his prime, there was nothing Willie couldn't do. Great fielding, great hitting, great power hitting, great running. He led the league in stolen bases a few times. He wasn't as dominant as some people like to make it out. Most people would have him at number 1. I have him at number 2. But still. Number 1, Ty Cobb. He gets gruesomely underrated because a lot of people crap on the dead ball era, which is stupid because that was the time it was the hardest to hit. And also because people say he was racist when he wasn't. He was actually pro-black. Check out my video, by the way. And that explains everything. But Ty Cobb was the best hitter who ever lived besides Babe Ruth. Just stole bases. And he was not a nice guy. I'm not saying he was a saint. But the guy was not the monster that people portray him as. And he was just an elite hitter. Hit 367 for his career. He didn't even, guys today can't hit 367 in a year. He did it for a 20-plus career. And by the way, that's the all-time average record. And he walked, and he got a 433 on-base percentage, stole tons of bases, drove in lots of runs. There was nothing he couldn't do. He wasn't the fielder that Willie was, but he hit, other than hitting for power, he did everything better than Willie, and that's why he's number 1 on my center fielders. Right field, this isn't a hot take. Number 1 is number 1 all time, in my opinion. Number 10, Harry Heilmann, gruesomely underrated hitter. It was a hard between him and Al Kaline, and I hate Al Kaline. And that's not why Al Kaline didn't make number 10. Even though he didn't give me an autograph at the Hall of Fame, which I'll never forgive him for. But he's here because Al Kaline was an elite fielder, but he didn't hit near as good as Harry did.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. He
Hit-
did give you
Yeah,
an autograph.
he didn't. Al Kaline didn't, and that's why I hate him.
Oh.
But Harry Heilmann, he was also...
I thought there was a person there that gave you
No. Harry Heilmann, he was an elite hitter. And that's why he hit good enough that it offset the fact that Kaline was a much better fielder. So he's my number 10. Number 9, Paul Wainer. He was a great hitter, but the cool thing about him was he was drunk all the time. He was one of those guys that drunk. And he came to the ballpark just flat out wasted. And he was 5 for 5, and he hit great. And they asked him, how did you hit so good when you were drunk? And he said, I swung at the one in the middle. because apparently he saw 3 balls coming to him, and he swung at the one in the middle.
So
Oh, and there's another really funny story that his manager, he found a half drunk bottle of whiskey, and he said, "Paul, is this yours?" And Paul Wainer says, "Is it empty?" And he said, "No, not quite." And he said, "It wasn't me then, because I would have drunk it all."
oh, what was I gonna say? Bro probably got made fun of so hard in school if his name was spelled a different
Paul
way.
Weiner?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, number 8, Shoeless Joe Jackson. And yes, he did throw the World Series. But this is nothing. This is about talent. And the guy, he hit 400 his rookie season. And didn't win the batting title because of Ty Cobb. That's what it cost you
Wow.
that's what it cost you playing with Ty Cobb, the greatest hitter for average in history.
Man.
His career was cut short for obvious reasons because he got banned from baseball. But he was truly an elite player. So he's number 8. Number 7, Frank Robinson. Don't need to say much about there. Just a great player everyone knows about. Number 6, Roberto Clemente. And obviously Clemente was a good guy. He he actually died sending supplies to a country that got hit by a hurricane, and they never found his body, which was sad.
There's I don't know if they're gonna show it, but I know there's a history thing about him on the History Channel.
Yeah, I missed it. I want to see it. But Roberto Clemente, he was the first Latino superstar, and he was a great hitter, and he actually got his 3,000th hit on the last day of the season right before he died. But the thing that's so interesting about him was his defense. He probably had the strongest arm of any outfielder in history. And I would put him number 2. I would probably say Harry Hooper was a better fielder because Clemente, sometimes he would get a little bit error prone. But as far as range and stuff, there's a lot of people that consider Clemente the best fielding right fielder of all time, and I can understand that argument. Number 5, he's big, he's fat, he hits 370.
Tony Gwynn.
Yes. Probably my favorite player besides Ty Cobb that's not a Cardinal. The great thing about him was he was a big, fat guy, but he still could steal bases, still played great defense before he got too fat. And he hit like 370 every year. I mean, he hit 394 one year, and he might have hit 400 if the strike didn't end the season. This is a guy, he hit 289 his first year as a part-time player, and then never hit under 313 ever again. I mean, he could just go out bare naked in a snowstorm and hit 300. Just an incredible hitter, gruesomely underrated. Well, always one of my favorites. Obviously, Hank Aaron, as far as I'm concerned, still the all-time home run champion.
If you're not counting Bonds.
Well, I don't consider Bonds a champ because of steroids. But anyway, Hank Aaron, he also has the most total bases of all time, and that will never be broke. Also, the most RBIs, and that will never be broke. He was the kind of guy, he didn't have any of the seasons he would consider one of the greatest of all time, but he just had a great season every year for 20 years. Number 2, my all-time favorite player of all time, Stan Musial. Not just a great player, but a great guy as well. I'll do a video on him someday. Just an elite player. And number 1, the greatest player of all time, Babe Ruth.
No dig.
Right, we got 2 more positions, and then we're done.
Are we doing relievers?
Yes. Next, we got starting pitchers. At number 10, we got Greg Maddux. A lot of people would put Greg higher, but he actually didn't have as many great seasons as people think. He actually had a lot more really excellent seasons than great ones.
He has the most gold gloves of all time.
Yes, and he was bar none the greatest fielding pitcher ever lived. No doubt about it. And number 9, Warren Spahn. Most people would put Maddux ahead of Spahn, but not me. Number 8, the best left-handed pitcher I ever seen, Randy Johnson. I know you're going to talk about the exploding bird.
Oh, Oh yeah, the exploding bird. I like that. I hate that. I hate that that happened to the bird, but it's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah. And he was just a mean son of a gun. And in his early years, he couldn't throw strikes, so he might hit you in the head and kill you.
90 mile an hour.
He was like almost, he's still, I think, the tallest player who ever played baseball.
I'm
And he
pretty
was,
sure he was 6'10".
yeah, and just a great player. At number 7, Mr. Steroid, Roger Clemens. Number 6, Tom Seaver. The cool thing about Seaver, he's actually underrated. The great thing about Tom Seaver is Ghostface is dancing.
Oh yeah.
Is the milestone numbers for pitchers is 300 wins, 3,000 strikeouts, a 112 or lower earned run whip, and a 300 or and a under 300 ERA. There's only 2 players in history that have done that have done all those things. One of them is my number 1 pitcher, and the other one is Tom Seaver. Definitely the best pitcher of the last 40, 50 years. Number 5, the greatest left-handed pitcher of all time, Lefty Grove. Number 4, Pete Alexander, and he was another guy who loved to drink a lot. He actually became a Cardinal later in his career. Definitely the best Phillies pitcher who ever lived. And the cool thing about him was he came in essentially as a closer, and he had to face Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, and Tony Lazzeri, I think with the bases loaded, in the World Series on the line, Game 7. And he had to get all 3 of those guys out. So basically, the Yankees were going to win this World Series if he didn't get everybody out 1, 2, 3. And he said, "Well, of course he was one of them old hillbilly types. He said, "Well, I reckon I better strike them out." So he did. He proceeded to strike out Gehrig, Lazzeri, and Ruth. 2 of those are the best hitters of all time. 2 among the best. And he struck them all out, and they won the their Cardinals won their first World Series because of that. Really great. Drunk all the time. His drinking probably hurt him. Hey, Breaking Dawn. I've seen you on a live stream before. Nice to see you.
What do you say? Just hi.
What's up? He's been on a live stream before. Number 3, the guy who won the most games ever. And the guy, he was so great they named an award after him. There will never be anyone that makes more. There will never be anyone who wins more games because they simply don't pitch as much as they did back then. Cy Young at number 3.
Cy Young.
Number 2, the greatest National League pitcher of all time, Christy Mathewson. And number 1, Walter Big Train Johnson, the greatest pitcher who ever lived. And he only had one pitch, a fastball. But it was the only pitch he needed. All right, we got relief pitchers, and then we're done. And I'm tired, so that's good.
I already know one person that's going to be on there.
Number 10 is Billy Wagner. And Billy Wagner, he was a Houston Astro pitcher. Here's the thing. Elite during the regular season, terrible postseason pitcher. He couldn't get me out in the postseason, and that's why he's number 10. Number 9, John Franco. Speaking of right wing, Francisco Franco is my favorite dictator. We're talking about John Franco, the Cincinnati Red here. He's number 9. Probably the best left-handed relief pitcher of all time. Number 8, K-Rod or Francisco Rodriguez still holds the all-time record for the most saves in a single season. Number 7, I hate him with a passion, but Craig Kimbrell. Number 6, Goose Gossage, a Yankee. Number 5, Dennis Eckersley.
I bet I know who the number 1 is.
The cool thing about Dennis Eckersley is he started his career as a starting pitcher, but Tony La Russa, who was a genius, towards the end of his career, he tried to get more years and use out of his arm, so he took him from the rotation to the bullpen and experimented with the modern bullpen as we know it. Tony La Russa created the modern bullpen, and Eckersley was his closer, and he became a Hall of Fame closer. Number 4, just because he pitched more innings, Rollie Fingers is number 4. Number 3, Trevor Hoffman. Number 2, the greatest knuckleball pitcher of all time, Hoyt Wilhelm.
And it's that
You have to have your mask on, Ghostface. I don't want to get in trouble for that.
I don't. They can hear me. Trust me. They can hear me without putting my mask.
Okay.
It's the greatest closer of all time.
Hey, we're not there yet, Ghostface.
Oh.
We're at number 2.
Oh, my bad.
Hoyt Wilhelm, but he was an old-time relief pitcher back when relief pitchers actually pitched. He pitched about as much innings as starting pitchers do now. He pitched about 100 innings a year. But the cool thing is that he led the league in ERA twice. Once he actually had a year when he was a starting pitcher because they didn't have enough arms, and he actually pitched great that year, but then they put him back in the bullpen. The other year, he won the ERA title as a relief pitcher. And yes, he threw enough innings to qualify. But the interesting thing about Hoyt Wilhelm is that he hit a home run his first at bat and never hit another home run ever again. And yes, relief pitchers did hit back then. But number 1 is, who is it, Ghostface?
I forgot his name, but it's that one Yankees closer. That's
Yes.
the best closer.
To me, the most boring pitcher of all time is Mariano Rivera. And you may think that is you may think I'm dissing him, but I'm not. That's actually a compliment. Because as soon as Rivera showed up, the game was over. You might as well get your stuff ready and head for the parking lot. Because if the Yankees were ahead and Rivera was up, the game was over. There's more people, literally, who have walked on the moon than have got a run off of Rivera in the postseason.
My gosh.
He was the best postseason pitcher of all time, which was why the Yankees used to win World Series all the time. Now they can't win any. But Rivera, and he basically did it with one pitch. And plus, he's just a nice guy. He's not only the best relief pitcher of all time, but he's just a cool guy, and I like him. So, yeah. And that's, you know what, why not? Let's do our all-time lineups, guys.
Okay.
I have to zone down and find it here, and then we're done. I hope Steve got back with... Oh, it's not Steve, Stain. I hope Stain got back to us before we ended. Okay, this is my all-time lineup. My National League all-time lineup. At batting, obviously, I don't do DHs. I do real baseball here. Number 9 is my National League starting pitcher, Christy Mathewson. Number 8 is my catcher, Johnny Bench. Number 7 is my third baseman, Mike Schmidt. Number 6 is Willie Mays at center field. Number 5 is Barry Bonds at left field. Number 4 at cleanup is Hank Aaron at right field. You could put Stan Musial at several positions, but I put Stan Musial as my first baseman, and he's hitting third. Number 2, Rogers Hornsby at number 2, and number 1, Honus Wagner leading off at shortstop. My all-time American League team, and if the teams met, as much as I'm a National League guy, the American League team probably has more talent, so they probably would win. But at number 9, my starting pitcher, Walter Johnson. Number 8, my catcher, Mickey Cochran. Number 7, my third baseman, Wade Boggs. Number 6, my second baseman, Nap Lajoie. Number 5, my shortstop, Alex Rodriguez. At cleanup, obviously the greatest cleanup hitter of all time, Lou Gehrig. Number 3, the best hitter of all time, Babe Ruth at right field. Number 2, Ted Williams hitting second. And number 1, my leadoff hitter at center field, Ty Cobb. Thanks for watching. Ghostface wants to say hi before he goes. Do you, Ghostface? Say bye.
Peace.
All
Bye, Stain.
All right, let's get with it. See you later.
Bye, Stain.
See you later.
Bye, Stain.
Yeah.